2 days ago, someone on Reddit posted a thread that got 136 upvotes and 64 comments. The title was, "It's 2026. Are we over quiet luxury yet?" Most of the comments said yes. Trend is dead. Move on. Here's what they got wrong. Quiet luxury was never a trend. It didn't start when Succession started trending. It didn't die when the show ended. It's been sitting there, completely unchanged, for about a century. And if you want proof, go back and watch Kendall Roy. Not because he gets it right, because he almost gets it right. And the gap between almost and actually is exactly where the whole philosophy lives. Kendall Roy is the most useful character in that show, not because he's a role model, but because he's a warning. Every few years, some version of understated dressing becomes a trend. Then everyone does it. Then everyone says it's over. Then they move on to the next thing. But the people who actually dress this way, the ones the aesthetic originally came from, they didn't notice. They just kept wearing the same things they always wore. That's the first thing Succession teaches you. What looks like a trend from the outside is just a lifestyle from the inside. The Roy family didn't wake up in 2021 and decide to go logo-free. They'd been dressing that way their entire lives. Succession just happened to catch it on camera. So when Reddit says quiet luxury is over, they're describing the trend cycle. They're not describing the aesthetic. Those are two completely different things. But to really understand what this looks like in practice, you need to look at two men in the same room and feel why one of them has it and the other one doesn't. Kendall Roy is not the best-dressed character in Succession. His father Logan is. And that's exactly the point. Kendall is trying to perform old money. Logan simply has it. And when you watch both of them in the same frame, you can feel the difference before you can name it. Kendall's clothes are technically correct. No logos, good fabric, precise fit. The color palette is right. Navy, black, gray. He knows the rules. He studied them. But there's an energy to how he wears them. A self-consciousness. You can see him thinking about it. Logan doesn't think about it. He walks into a room in a plain navy suit that probably costs more than most people's rent, and the suit is completely irrelevant. You're not looking at the suit. You're looking at him. That gap, between dressing to signal and dressing to exist, is what old money aesthetic is actually about. Kendall shows you the gap. Logan shows you what's on the other side of it. Let's go through the full cast, because each one represents a different relationship to this aesthetic. Logan Roy, plain, functional, nothing to prove. His clothes are expensive, but you wouldn't know it unless you knew what to look for. A well-cut suit in a muted color. A heavy coat with no decoration. A watch that doesn't catch light. Logan built an empire. He doesn't need his clothes to tell you that. He already told you. The clothes just need to not get in the way. Shiv Roy. Shiv is the closest to what people actually mean when they say quiet luxury. Tailored but minimal. Never a logo. Color palette that disappears into the room. Bone, pale gray, soft camel. She dresses like someone who has been dressing this way since she was 12 and finds the whole conversation slightly beneath her. She is not trying to look rich. She just does. And there's a reason for that, which we'll get to in a minute. Roman Roy. Roman is interesting. He has the clothes. He does not have the disposition. He'll show up in a perfect Loro Piana sweater and spend the next 10 minutes being chaotic and childish. The clothes are from the right side of the drawer. The behavior contradicts everything they're supposed to communicate. It's almost a joke about the whole concept. You can buy the aesthetic, but you can't buy the actual thing underneath. And Kendall. Kendall sits between all of them. He's the most intentional dresser in the show. He follows the rules precisely. No logos. Correct palette. Good fabric. Good fit. But he changes. Season to season, his look shifts. He's testing identities. There's a restlessness to it. He goes through a phase of leaning harder into streetwear, then pulls back, then goes more formal. He's searching. And that searching is what makes him so useful to watch. Because what he's searching for isn't a jacket. It's confidence. and you can't find confidence in a jacket. But the most revealing thing about this show? These choices weren't made by the actors. They were made by one woman working behind the scenes, and every decision she made was completely intentional. Michelle Matland spent years as the costume designer on Succession, and she has talked publicly about the choices she made. No visible logos. That was a rule. The brands exist. Loro Piana, Brunello Cucinelli, Ralph Lauren Purple Label. But you never see a label. You never see a monogram. You never see anything that says, "I spent money on this." The color palette was also deliberate. Navy, cream, gray, charcoal, soft khaki. Colors that read as serious. Colors that don't compete with anything. Colors that communicate that the person wearing them is not trying to be seen. They just are. The fabrics are what carry the cost. Heavy cashmere. A well-structured coat that holds its shape without padding. Shirts that sit exactly right because the collar has been made correctly. If you looked at a Succession outfit on a hanger, you might not think much of it. On the person, in the room, in the scene, it reads as immense authority. That's what good dressing actually does. It doesn't call attention to itself. It just makes the person more present. So the clothes are intentional. Every piece chosen with a reason. But there's a deeper question that nobody really asks. Why don't they show off at all? They have the money. They could wear anything. Why nothing? This is the question most people actually want answered. Why don't they show off? They have the money. They could wear anything. Why nothing? The answer is simple. Insecurity shows off. Confidence doesn't need to. When someone needs you to know they're wealthy, when they need the logo visible, the watch discussed, the label placed correctly in frame, they're asking you to confirm something for them. They need the external signal, because the internal signal isn't strong enough on its own. Logan Roy does not need you to confirm anything. He knows exactly who he is. The room already knows. The clothes are not doing that work. Shiv Roy grew up in this world. She never had a moment of doubt about whether she belonged in the room, so she never needed to dress as if she was trying to get in. Kendall is still trying to get in. Not to the room. He's always been in the room, but to his own sense of self. And you can see it in the clothes. Not because the clothes are wrong, because the energy behind them is. That's the real lesson here. The aesthetic isn't about what you wear. It's about your relationship to what you wear. If you're wearing something to prove something, it doesn't matter how expensive or how minimal or how perfectly chosen it is. It reads as effort. Effort reads as need. Need is the opposite of quiet luxury. So how do you actually build this? What does this look like in practice? For someone who isn't a fictional billionaire with a trust fund and a costume designer. You don't need to buy Loro Piana. You need to stop buying things you're not sure about. The quietest wardrobe isn't the most expensive one. It's the most considered one. Every piece you own, you chose deliberately. You wear it because it fits well and you like it. Not because it signals something. Not because it's the thing right now. Start with fabric. Learn what good cashmere feels like versus bad cashmere. Learn why a well-structured collar matters. Start noticing the difference between a coat that holds its shape and one that doesn't. Then stop explaining your choices. Logan Roy never explains his coat. He just wears it. That's the whole thing, really. The people who actually embody this aesthetic have stopped thinking about it. They made their decisions, they know who they are, and they just get dressed. That's what Kendall Roy hasn't figured out yet. Maybe that's what makes him the most interesting character in the show. If this was useful, the next video to watch is the one on building an actual quiet luxury wardrobe. Not the theory, but the specific pieces and where to find them at different budgets. It's already up. Link in the description.